everyone, it's Amanda, and it has been a very long time since I have made a video. I apologize for that. I really just honestly haven't felt like making a video, so I didn't. But I have a lot of catching up to do, so I think I should try to do it every month at least. That is my goal. We'll see how it goes. Today, I'm going to do my February wrap-up. In February, I read 13 books. I don't have all of them, because a lot of the books that I didn't love, I donated to, well, I didn't donate them, I sold them to Half Price Books. We took a trip, I think in March, and I took a bunch of those books there. So I'll just insert an image for the ones that I don't have a copy of. The first book I read was We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. It's about a woman who is writing to her husband about their son Kevin, and you learn about him from his birth until present day, and you know something tragic has happened that involves Kevin, and it was good. I didn't like the writing style. A lot of people gave that book 5 stars, loved it, loved the writing style. To me, the writing style felt like the author was trying to sound really, really intelligent, lots and lots of big words, and very, very wordy. I didn't care for that. I enjoyed the story, but the writing style really stood in the way. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Then I read Risen by Angela Hunt. This is a novelization of the major motion picture. I think this was in the movie theater, or it's going to be, or something like that. I'm not sure when it came out or comes out. But this is about the resurrection of Christ told from a Roman soldier's perspective. I thought this was really cool because I never thought of the resurrection from the perspective of the Roman soldiers. The body goes missing and they don't know what happened and they need to find it. I really liked it. The story really came to life. I've read that story so many times in the Bible, and it was just a neat way to see it from this perspective. We took the facts of the story in the Bible and created a fictional character and fictional things around it. So it's kind of like a Philippa Gregory book in that way, because you've got real characters, but then there's the author's ideas and imagination as well. I really liked it. I definitely would love to see this movie, and I gave this 5 stars. And I received this from Bethany House Publishing in exchange for a review. Then I read No Ordinary Life by Suzanne Redfern. This is about a woman whose daughter gets discovered on a YouTube video. And I believe she's a single mom, and her daughter is 4 years old, and she gets offered a part in a television show, so they go to Hollywood and start living the life of a famous star, child star, and it was really interesting. I did enjoy this. I thought it was pretty eye-opening. I know so many people would love to have their children be famous and think that would be just such a great thing, and this book was great because it shows that it's not all as cracked up to be. It talks about like the safety of your children and how there are people that are very adoring and maybe you don't always want that, and lots of things like that. I really liked it. I thought it was very good, and I gave it 4 stars. I had never read anything by this author, but it sounded so good I actually pre-ordered this book, so I was glad to read it. Then I read Here I Go Again by Jen Lancaster. This one I did donate. I don't even remember a lot about this book. I mean, I read it in February, so it's been a while. All I remember is it's about this woman who was not a very nice girl in high school, and she has the opportunity to go back. And I didn't, now thinking about it, the fact that I don't remember much about it makes me think I should bump my rating down. I gave it 4 stars. I think it was a lot of fun. I do remember it being fun, but I don't really remember much about it. I can't say a lot about it. I'm sorry, I just don't remember it that much. Then I read The Quality of Silence by Rosamund Lupton. I had read another book by this author called Sister and liked it. I thought it was really good. This book I think I liked even more than Sister. This is about a woman who is told that her husband has died. Her husband lives in this little village in Alaska where you have to drive on the ice roads to get to the airport and then fly in, and it's just really hard to get to. And she is told that the village burned down and he is dead. She's at the airport to meet him, and she doesn't believe it. And she has her daughter, and she decides to take this ice road and go find her husband. And along the way, there's someone after her. It was really good. This book is very atmospheric. I never really watched like Ice Road Truckers or anything, but that is where this takes place, the same place on that show, because afterwards my husband and I started watching it because I was fascinated by this whole ice road concept. But she's in this tractor trailer and it's so dangerous, and I was just so frustrated with this woman so many times in this book. She has this young child, they already told her her husband is dead, and she's driving, risking their lives, and there's a storm, of course. But it was great. It was a really great story. I really enjoyed the writing, and I think I would read this again because it was a great winter story because it's cold, and it was a good story to read in February. I ended up giving this 4 stars, and I received this from Blogging for Books in exchange for an honest review. Then I read The Prophetess, Deborah's story. This is another historical fiction based on a story of the Bible, the story of Deborah, who is a prophetess, and I enjoyed this. It was good. It was a story that I wasn't as familiar with in the Bible. One of those books that I'm glad I read, but I don't think I'd ever read it again, so I actually did sell that one to Half Price Books, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Then I read In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. This was great. This was a really good story. This is a psychological thriller about a woman who gets invited to a hen party, which is like a bachelorette party in London. It's one of her friends, but it's someone she hasn't talked to in a long time. They really aren't friends anymore. So she's very confused as to why she was invited. But her other friend that's a mutual friend said, I'll go if you go, so we'll just go and do it. And when they get there, some really strange things are happening, and it was good. I liked this story a lot. It was kind of predictable, but there were a few twists and turns that I didn't see coming. Glad to read it. I ended up giving it 5 stars, and I actually had read this one from the library, and last month I was at Ollie's and I found it for $3.99, so I bought it because this is one that I could see myself rereading at some point. I was really excited to find it there. Then I read Envy by Greg Olson. I really wanted to read this because of the cover. This cover is so creepy. And Greg Olson writes crime fiction, or not crime fiction, true crime, as well as fiction. This was, I think, his first YA story. And I wasn't thrilled with this as much as I thought it would be based on the cover. It's about a girl who is found in her bathtub dead, and there's this mystery surrounding it, and there's these twins that are in the town that have these special abilities. It's based on a true story. I just thought it was very slow-paced, slow-moving, not that exciting. Just wasn't my favorite book. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I liked it, didn't love it. Then I read Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, and I DNF'd it at about 70 pages. I'm just starting to realize that I'm not a fan of sugary, sweet contemporary books. I don't really like the contemporary books that are just kind of romantic type books. I just find them boring. It's not my kind of thing, not my cup of tea. I'm not gonna bash that book in any way. I know a lot of people love it. It just was not the book for me. So I didn't rate that one. Then I read Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. And I took that one to Half Price Books too, because for me it was just a 3-star read. It was good, again, but it was very slow paced and very long. It took me a long time to read it. I didn't find it that exciting, especially because I knew how it was going to end because it is based on a true story. So there was no surprise, twist, or anything like that. And the only thing I really liked about it was another book that was very atmospheric. It took place in Iceland, which I had never read any stories about Iceland, so that was really cool. But yeah, it was just okay for me. Then I read A Bad Place by Tony Urban. This is a short story and I happen to know the author, so I just decided to read it. He posted on Facebook that he had it was on Amazon for free, so I just picked it up and read it on my Kindle. It was a very short story. It's your typical scary story. He is a huge fan of Stephen King, and I could definitely see the inspiration from that author. It's really neat to read stories from authors that you know, and you kind of know the places they're talking about and things like that. So I ended up giving that one 4 stars. I thought it was good. Then I read Freedom's Child by Jax Miller. This is another one I got from Blogging for Books in exchange for review. I would never have picked this up just based on this cover. It does not appeal to me in any way, but the plot, the synopsis sounded really good. It's about this woman named Freedom who really isn't named Freedom. She's in the witness protection program because she did something years ago and her in-law family, her husband is dead, her in-laws don't like her. They could be a threat to her. So she's in witness protection, but one day her daughter goes missing. So she makes the decision to break free of this witness protection program and go find her daughter. And I thought it was really good. There's a lot of subplots and a lot of stuff happening on the side of this main plot, and eventually they do all come together, and I thought that was really cool. But it was good, and it was kind of unpredictable, which was really cool. And I enjoyed it. I did not like Freedom's character. I could not stand her. She's not a very likable person. I believe the author did intend for her to be that way, but it made it kind of hard to read sometimes because you want to root for the main character, and I really didn't want to root for her because I didn't really like her. But it was good. I gave it 4 stars. The last book I read in February was called Annabelle Lee by Mike Napa. I got this one from the publisher in exchange for an honest review. I was thrilled to get this book. The cover it screams me. It's the kind of book I just would gravitate towards because it's creepy looking. Love the font, love everything about that cover. The plot sounds good. It's about Annabelle who is locked in this bunker and you really don't know what's going on. And I was expecting this thriller and I ended up with more of a crime fiction kind of story. So I was a bit disappointed because it wasn't what I expected. It also was pretty strangely paced. There were times when I just was very bored with it, and then it would pick up and then it would slow down again. It just wasn't a very steady pace, but it is the first in a series. I think the next one's going to be called The Raven. Annabelle Lee is based on, she was named after the Edgar Allan Poe story, and I thought it was interesting, but like I said, it just wasn't what I was expecting it would be. So I gave it 3 stars, and I didn't keep that one because I don't see myself ever reading that again. That's it. Those are the books that I read in February of 2016. I will be back hopefully soon with my March wrap up, and then I'll be caught up until April's over, which it's almost over. But yes, thank you for watching. I've missed you all. I hope you all have a great night.